everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's episode where we have a local celebrity, Alex Stephenson, with us, joining us. Local author. Is that what you aspire? And
I aspire to be author.
Okay.
Local author's where I'm at right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I like it. I think after 11 books, that's more than aspiring. That's crushing.
I've got quite a few books now, but yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself. Originally homegrown from Tahlequah?
So I am actually from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I moved here back in 2002 for school, and then liked Tahlequah and met a girl, and I stayed.
I love those stories.
Yeah.
Man,
I watched Tahlequah grow, and it's been really cool seeing what Tahlequah has turned into. Tahlequah, when I moved here and versus Tahlequah today, is unrecognizable. It's a completely different town.
I agree, for sure.
Yeah.
But I love that people fell in love with this small town. And you have actually been a very big part of the growth. I think that's exactly what happens.
I love this town. I absolutely love Tahlequah. The people are just absolutely amazing.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah. Yes. Now, is your the girl that you met, was she original to Tahlequah, or had she
my wife Shelly, she grew up here. It's one of those things where if we go to Walmart, she sees people that she went to like 3rd grade with. Her mom taught 1st grade at Grandview, so she knows everybody too, and they know, between the two of them, they know the whole town.
Oh, that's amazing. And then I happen to know it, but that you have 2 children.
I do. I have an 18-year-old son who's getting ready to graduate, so I've got a tearful mom at home. He's going to graduate from Tahlequah this year, and he's doing welding at the Votech, so he's going to go into welding. He's really excited about that. And then my daughter is a sophomore, and they both just had prom. So that was really exciting and hard for my wife, but really exciting.
Oh my gosh. And you know, for me, they are frozen from when you bought the home.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to be like, wait, they were like maybe 8 and 10 or
somewhere
6
around
and
there.
10,
We've got a picture in our front room from around the time we moved in, and they don't even look like the same humans anymore. My wife and I do, but the kids don't.
I don't know that teenagers are humans anyway, to be honest. Jill, what do you think?
Yeah. But they are really amazing kids.
A beautiful family, yes. So tell me how this journey of becoming an author
So I've been writing children's books for probably about 6-7 years now, and basically one day my son had gone to a book fair at school, and he brought home some books, and I was reading them with him, and I was just kind of blown away at how bad a couple of them were. And I don't want to talk bad about other authors, but these books, they had tons of spelling errors in them. One of them was a Minecraft book, and it was literally just pictures of someone playing Minecraft. And I thought, man, I could probably do that myself. And then over time, as I started to think about it, I thought, well, there's probably a lot of things that we do in counseling that would benefit kids if they were to read about it at an early age and be kind of familiar with some of these topics as they grow. You know, a lot of us have children's books that we read when we were kids that we remember very fondly. And my hope was that if kids had books that they could read about mental health and anger and friendship and self-esteem, and then that was what they grew up reading and remembering fondly, it would translate into healthier adults.
I love that. And I think I did not mention what you do for a full-time job. You are a counselor?
Yes, I am a therapist. I work with Cherokee Nation Behavioral Health. I've been there for 10 years this month, actually.
Okay, therapist. That's
counselor, therapist. I'm a licensed professional counselor. Really, any word that has to do with therapy is probably going to fit.
Okay. And so, so you're looking at these books. They're kind of not at the level that you would anticipate.
Yeah, I thought we could probably do better.
Yeah. And now your background, I think of you as an artist.
I've drawn for years.
Yeah, that's how I kind of first got to know you more, through social media, was a lot of the artistry and things that you were doing.
I did a webcomic for about 10 years, and then that got me from college into working in community mental health. And then as a therapist, I decided to probably grow up with me a little bit, and I tried to make a little bit more mature things, not so silly. But yeah, I've been drawing my whole life. I absolutely love drawing.
Okay, so you, when you're looking at what is available for the children, you're thinking you can do better with the illustrations and better with the explanations and...
Yeah, I thought someone who was, there's obviously always been amazing children's books out there. It's just some of the ones that my son was bringing home didn't have any heart in them. They were just really quick cash grabs. And I thought that... I thought I wanted to make some books with heart in them, and again, like I said, some books that would help kids in things that maybe the books that they had didn't help them with.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love that. And I do think when there's heart behind it, it just is a game changer. So
I believe so too.
so do you remember the name of the first book? The title?
Yeah, the very first book I ever made was a book called The Unlikely Friendship of Adam and Jack, and it was about a polar bear and a penguin that were best friends. And I didn't know it when I started the book, but apparently polar bears and penguins live at opposite sides of the world, so that was
Very unlikely
yeah, a
friendship.
real challenging thing for them to be friends. But basically, it was two characters who were very different. One was super athletic and really outgoing and really charismatic, and the other one was very intelligent and quiet and reserved. And they complemented each other, but they also didn't try to change each other. And so I wrote a book trying to show kids and people how important it is to just be yourself, and the right friends will like you no matter what, and the best friends will complement you and fill in places where you lack.
I love that because it's hard to convey that to a child.
It is.
But I love the idea of it being in a storybook with illustrations, and then you can do you have any friends that this sounds familiar?
Right.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
And what is the age group that you're going for with this?
So it's kind of different from book to book. Some of my books were probably okay as young as 4 or 5, and then a couple of my later books that go into a little bit heavier issues, more aimed at 10 to 12, that area. Elementary school, most of my books would be perfect for elementary school. But yeah, just book by book.
Okay,
Depends.
okay. And the most recent book, Anger Armor.
The Anger Armor, that's my newest book, yeah.
Well, I actually, my assistant was like, maybe we need to get that for Edna. So I don't know. Tell me about this book.
Buy all of the copies you want, please. Yes. So I talk in therapy a lot about anger. Anger is something everybody experiences. But what a lot of people don't realize when they feel angry is anger is a secondary emotion. Anger is an emotion that we feel that covers up maybe a more uncomfortable emotion, fear, sadness, hurt, whatever. And so when people are dealing with anger, it's easy to say, don't be angry. But what does that mean? So I wrote a book about a little girl named Aaliyah who starts to wear her anger like a suit of armor, because when you're dealing with anger, anger is a super effective way to solve problems. If you want people to listen to you, raise your voice and they'll listen. If you want people to leave you alone, yell at them and they'll go away. The problem is all of those solutions are really short-lived, and they typically cause a lot more damage than they do good. So in the book, she learns to wear her anger like a suit of armor, and she gets her family to leave her alone, and she gets the kids at school to be nicer to her. But over time, no one wants to go near her. Her suit of armor is actually keeping her isolated from the people that she ultimately wants to be around. So she learns to let go of that armor and see, while yes, it did serve a purpose, it didn't really fix the problems that I was using it to fix.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So now I see why my assistant thinks I need that book now.
Yeah.
Jill, what do you think? No, Jill doesn't think I need the book. Okay, good. Well, I think that that's a beautiful way to approach the subject with the child, because it's not accusatory. It's maybe letting them think, oh, well, maybe that is a better approach, and it's not so much pointed at them, so to speak.
Yeah, it's really easy to say, don't be angry.
Right.
And it's really easy to say, don't yell, or don't stomp your feet, or do the things that kids do when they're mad. But if they see that the things that they do when they're mad get people to leave them alone or get people to be quiet, that's a really powerful reinforcer. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to tell the story of someone who used the anger really effectively, but then used it too long, and it actually did some disservice to her.
Oh, yeah. And so where do the topics come from for you?
Honestly, as my kids were growing up, like I said, they're getting older now, so I'm going to have to find a new source of topics. But as they were growing up, I tried to write books about things that I thought they would benefit from. My daughter struggled with sleep for a while, so we wrote a book about sleep. Every child struggles with kind of finding a sense of identity and self-esteem, so I wrote some books about that. And then outside of that, really just stuff that comes up in therapy. If I'm working with an adult who struggles with something, and I think, boy, I really wish that they could have addressed this when they were younger, because they would have a lot more quality of life now, then that might be a good topic for a book.
Yeah.
I have gone to counseling for years, and I think that all of us have things that we wish, boy, I wish I would have gotten a handle on this or some better understanding of this when I was a kid. And I see this as an opportunity to help someone do that.
Yeah. And if you, because that is kind of your world and your passion, but if you had a magic wand, is that the fix? Is starting children very young to correct some of this behavior, or to give them skills, I would think?
I think If I had a magic wand, I would normalize big feelings. I think that's really the secret. I think so many of us are raised in environments or in societies where we're taught it's okay to laugh, it's not okay to cry, or it's okay to feel this way but not okay to feel that way. And when you take a step back and realize that every person feels every feeling, some more than others, if we could normalize those big feelings. Yes, when you're sad, it's okay to be sad. Let's figure out why you're sad and work through that. When you're mad, it's okay to be mad. Let's figure out why you're mad and work through that. I think normalizing those feelings and helping people get an understanding of what they were feeling and why they were feeling it would really, really do some wonders.
I think that's wonderful. Yeah, I would say that I think most of the time, what I do for a living, people have big feelings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's very, very emotional for them. And I've found that most of the time the anger is fear, is the, and then I've just got to figure out what it is that they're fearful of.
Absolutely.
So I can help them, with that.
Yeah,
So.
I think a lot of us therapists are believers that no one is ever just angry. There's always something underneath it. And anger is the safest, easiest way. Safest is a relative term, but
Sure,
it feels
yeah.
like the safest way to convey those other feelings.
Yeah.
I don't want her to know that I'm scared that I'm going to get in over my head, so I'm just going to seem really mad about it.
Yeah.
And then maybe she'll fix my problem for me.
Yeah. So is being vulnerable, is that a topic that you have to touch on a lot? Then?
Absolutely. I think vulnerability is something we all struggle with.
Yeah.
Like coming in and filming a podcast.
You're old hat at this. You've been on TV recently.
I have, yeah. I got to be on the news. Old hat or not, I still get super nervous. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, even just sitting in here in my car, I was like, oh, it's time to go. So, yeah.
It's a little stage fright.
I think we all feel a little bit exposed when we talk about ourselves or when we get put in a position where we are expected to be our best self or share our best version of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure you've experienced that probably earlier in your career because you've done this for so long.
Well, I think there's that whole imposter syndrome sometimes that we go through. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for the couch because that's a whole nother topic.
For sure,
So.
for sure.
So now you also did like a different segue of books with the
Right.
local.
I've got a good friend, Brad Wagnon. He's a Cherokee author. He is really, really passionate about continuing Cherokee culture and making sure that children know what their Cherokee children and Native children know what their culture is. So years ago, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 years ago, he approached me and we decided that we were going to make a children's book based off of a Cherokee story. And we've made 3 so far. We actually have a 4th one with a publisher right now, so we should have another one coming out soon. I've illustrated them and he was the storyteller. And that has been just such a cool experience because we've seen a lot of, we've got pictures of the deputy chief reading one of our books to a group of kids. And it's just been so cool to see, again, kind of like I was saying earlier, we all grew up with children's books that we remember fondly, and to know that our books are going to play a part in Cherokee children and Native children remembering their culture or learning their culture and remembering that fondly is, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's such a cool thing, such a special thing to be a part of.
That is amazing. And it's very important in our market where almost a large demographic is Cherokee or Native American or married to, like me, and my children are Native American. So I love being able to pass that on to the grandchildren. So that's a huge part of it. So where would someone find the books? Like, let's talk about the Cherokee books.
So the Cherokee books, they're available at the Cherokee Nation gift store out by the complex.
Jill, I need those. Okay.
And then Too Fond of Books here in town has some of our books, some of our Cherokee books as well.
Oh, wonderful.
And then any that they don't have, or if they're ever out of stock, all of our books are available on Amazon.
Okay, fantastic. So we love Shop Local. Too Fond of Books is such a
amazing
sweet
people.
and charming. You can just go in and browse and take your time, and they've got sometimes I'll get a book and I'm like, I'm not sure, and I'll just sit and kind of flip through it.
There's something about being in a bookstore run by people who love books. It just feels different. Absolutely.
It really, really does.
Yeah,
So
it's a really neat
love
store.
that. So definitely check those out. But what we will do, Jill, let's see if we can put some links below to the Cherokee Nation and maybe a couple of the names of the books, so that'll make it easy for you guys to find these books. So now this might have to be edited, but so you originally did cartoon strips, right?
I did, yes, yeah.
Okay, so I do want to talk briefly about that. Now, that was not for children.
Right. Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
different
A different
age that you
demographic.
were.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but you had graduated college, I believe, and you were new in counseling.
So when I started my comic, I was in undergrad, and my comic started as kind of the chronicles of my experience as a college student.
Okay.
Stories of my roommate and I doing stupid things together, learning things together, and then I graduated and I went into community mental health, and then my comic kind of grew into that, and it followed my friend Kevin and I through just our experiences in community mental health, because working for the state was such a unique and challenging experience. Working community mental health was such a challenging experience. And then I got to the point where, I decided I should probably maybe retire the comics and move towards something that was a little bit more.
Hilarious.
Some
It
of them,
was
yeah.
so funny.
Some of them were pretty
And you had quite a following. I mean, it
I did, yeah.
really, really well.
It was really cool. Some of my comics got millions of views, which was really neat. I had a really good run of luck on Reddit, and doing comics really helped me meet some really interesting and really awesome people too. I met some cool other comic artists in the game, and
that's so neat.
it was a really rewarding experience.
Yeah, so I'm always curious, like, what is your go-to, like, sitcom? I think sitcom is not really the correct term, but what shows do you watch to give yourself a little laugh?
So as far as my sense of humor goes, I've got a few that I go to. There's a show called Ted Lasso. I don't know if you've seen that. That's one of my absolute favorite shows. It's a really good blend of humor and optimism, but optimism in a real world. It's not just that kind of cloyingly sweet optimism. It's like, okay, yeah, we can be positive even though things are hard. I love The Office. I've loved The Office for years.
I nailed it.
Love Parks and Rec, both of those made by the same guy. And then I also love, there's a sketch comedy show on Netflix called I Think You Should Leave, that I was telling my wife the other day that if someone looked into my brain and saw my sense of humor and was like, we should make a show from this, that was the show. It's bizarre. It's so funny. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. There's clips online from it. It's so absurd, but it's so funny. It's so funny.
I'll have to check that out. Are you a Larry David fan?
I am, yeah. I grew up watching Seinfeld, and Curb Your Enthusiasm is a really, really funny show. I haven't watched as much of it as some of the other shows, but I do think Larry David is hilarious.
Yeah. He's in a low-key, weird kind of way. So.
Yeah, in a very socially awkward kind of way.
Yeah, I thought as a therapist,
resonates with me. Yeah,
it would cringe, but it would feel true too.
Yeah, I think the neuroses there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I love that. Well, and then also, just because I do follow you on social media. What is your fascination with pickles?
So
you didn't expect that question.
I didn't. Yeah, hard-hitting questions. I just absolutely love pickles, and I think we all long for connection, and I think whenever you have a thing that you like, your friends and family, whenever they see that thing, they think of you. So it just kind of it snowballed into now anytime somebody sees something pickle related, they'll tag me in it or send it to me. I don't know. Do you have any things like that you're just super fond of?
And you have to be careful because then people will start collecting it for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you're like, I don't need another.
Oh man, yeah. With my wife, it's Bigfoot, and we have Bigfoot all over our house now because we have a Bigfoot statue on our front porch. But yeah, I love pickles. I love making my own pickles, and so anytime somebody sees something pickle related, they'll typically send it to me.
Oh my gosh.
Which is cool. It's nice to be thought of. It just means that when people aren't around you, they're still thinking about you, and that's the most flattering thing in the world.
I think that's awesome. Well, that is fantastic. Yeah. Well, I kind of knew the backstory, but I wanted to share that. So all of you who have something pickle, send it. No, I'm kidding.
I think we're full up. We're full up on pickles, but yeah.
It is funny because people do start gifting you.
They do.
Yeah. And I do think that's beautiful because they're in Minnesota and they see a pickle pepper shaker and they're like, you know who would like this? Alex.
Yeah, it's wild. It was Batman for a while. I loved Batman in college, and then it was like at the point where I got the Batman cookie jar. Maybe we're done with Batman for a while. I've got so many Batman things. But yeah, again, it's just nice to be thought of.
I love that. So now that the kids are, kind of about to graduate, or the oldest one, are you thinking about doing like a young adult series, or where does it go with the books?
So I have thought about that. With any sort of book writing, it's like every market is saturated. And so if I can come up with something for young adults that I think would be beneficial for young adults, then I'll absolutely do it. And if it sells great, and if it doesn't, then at least I'll know it's out there for anybody who needs it. Right now, I think I'll probably stick with children's books just because that's where I think kind of my passion is. That's
Yeah.
what I really, really enjoy writing. I said we've got another children's book with a publisher right now. It's a Cherokee story called Rabbit's Song. It's all about being yourself, no matter how people react to you. Always be yourself. And then past that, I've got another children's book in the works called Why Do We Cry? It's about like the hundreds of different reasons that humans cry and why every single one of them is okay. So I plan on doing children's books for quite a while.
Okay, fantastic. And at what point will you introduce your son to your original cartoon strip?
He's 18 now. He's seen a lot of the stuff. Maybe as he goes into early adulthood and starts to have some of the same experiences, I might share some of my anecdotal comics with him.
That is hilarious. I love that. Wow. Well, I love that you've got 2 books already. I mean, it sounds like you're not at the end then with the children's books.
It's such a good outlet for me when I have a stressful day or when I have something going on. I can just sit down and draw or sit down and write. So as long as I'm working or breathing and need an outlet, I will probably continue to make books.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we'll definitely put some information below so people will know where to find those books. Jill and I are going to get those books. I have grandchildren, and she has a 2-year-old, not 2, not quite 2. So definitely that's the age group that we love to start, reading and exposing them to that. So
that was how I bonded with my kids, was reading to them at night. And doesn't have to be any book in particular, just read to your kids.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you already do that.
Yeah. I mean, we're avid readers anyway, so I want them to all be readers. I think that's perfect. Well, Alex, we're so glad that you took the time out of your schedule.
Thank you.
Basically 2 full-time jobs now at this point, right?
Yeah.
And being able to come out and visit with us. We're going to put some information below so they can help them find your books.
I've got my website.
You have a website.
Yeah, I've got a website. It's House Cat Books is my writing.
Oh, that's perfect. Let's
author.
do that, Jill. We'll do that, and that'll make it easier
Okay,
for
great.
them to locate that. So now we also like to ask a controversial question while you're here.
Okay.
We ask, do you make your bed every day? And if so, or if not, what is your theory behind that?
What a good question. No, I don't make my bed every day. The reason why I don't make my bed is because I and my wife are the only ones that see it. She makes it a lot more often than I do. She makes it every night before we get in it. But it's one of those things that I never really saw the purpose of it. So if I was having company over, the bed would be made. But if I'm not having company over, if there's no chance anybody's going to go through our bedroom to get to the second bathroom, I don't think I'm going to make the bed.
No purpose. You've got better things to do.
I've got better things to do.
There you go. He's illustrating a book. I think that is a great idea for sure.
Since this is a real estate company, I didn't know if you wanted like real estate advice. I'd figure you probably know quite a bit of stuff, but with my limited knowledge, I made some notes. I thought I would share kind of like what I had. Is that okay?
I'm always learning. Let's do this.
I feel a little like put on the spot because I don't know a whole lot about real estate, but I'm going to share my experiences. If you have problems, search them on YouTube. That's been useful. Probably applies to more than just real estate. Lock the house at night and when you leave. Both. I don't know if you've probably heard that before.
That's a very good real estate
sound
tip.
advice. That's not anecdotal experience, but we just do that.
Okay.
I wrote trash day as Tuesday, but that may be different for other neighborhoods.
Okay.
So if you live in, if you're watching and you live in my neighborhood, trash day is Tuesday. But again, ask your neighbors. Maybe ask your neighbors what day trash day is.
There you go. I think he's after my job, Jill. I mean, these are good. Yeah.
I wrote property value. I don't know why I wrote that.
Because it's important to real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
I wrote liquidity.
Okay.
And then I had a question mark after that. That's a word I thought maybe just like edit that in.
Sounded really good. Very strong.
If you could just edit it where it's like cuts to me and I say like liquidity. And then it cuts away, and you're like, "Oh, what a good point Alex made."
Perfect.
So that's all I had, but I thought maybe some useful tips for your followers.
It's a real estate concentric. Absolutely, we think that's very important. So
I thought here to help.
Very good, very good. Well, and having a well-known author and illustrator weigh in on real estate is very important.
Among so many other things.
There you go. Yes. There you go. Yeah. Thank you so much
so
for
much
your time. We really appreciate it.
An absolute
Guys,
pleasure.
Thanks for watching today's episode. Check out Alex's website below. And remember, we've got 2 local locations where you can go and purchase those books. And did you ever do like a meet the author signing?
We have done a few of those. I don't think we have any lined up right now, but with our new Cherokee book coming out soon, I imagine we'll probably have at least one or two
Please
before
let
the
us
end of the
know
year.
and we can post about it.
Yeah, my House Cat Books book company is on Facebook and TikTok, and so we put all of our updates on there. If there's going to be anything coming up, it would be we'd note it there.
Okay, I didn't know you were on TikTok. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
So, love TikTok.
Much to my daughter's chagrin.
I know.
Yeah,
It's the best. So.
it is. It really, really is.
Okay, everyone, please like, follow, and share so we can get Alex's information out. And if there's someone that you would like for us to have on as a guest, please reach out. Or if there's a heavy-hitting topic such as liquidity that you would like for us to discuss.
I feel like we covered it, but okay.
Yeah, he went really in depth with it.
With the great.
Please reach out. We would be happy to consider talking about that. Thanks for watching, everyone.